an example would be if you're going through a unit, they've got strata reports. You might read through it and it might make sense, but you don't see them every day. So there's going through the meeting minutes in a strata report to understand what have they been talking about, what works are required on that complex. There might be like with units, and that's why as an investment vehicle, I'm not a big fan of, because there's more maintenance involved, there's less scarcity, but also there are special levies that can be hit to the owners on top of the rates that you pay every single month. So like you got the body corporate and the strata expenses, but then they might have a special levy that says, hey, look, we now have a leaking issue in the roof and we didn't account for this. We need $500,000 to fix this. It's not in our budget. Between all 10 of us in this unit, that's $50,000 each. We can get it done. Where's your 50 grand?
Was I talking to you about an example? Were you telling me about it, or somebody else was telling me about it, that they had to pay, the unit block had to pay $100,000 extra each on some changes they needed to make to their unit block. I think it was in my suburb. But I want to get back to, in line with what we were talking about, a solicitor, they can review the contract prior, so they can review a blank contract, or they can review a contract of sale that you have signed. But what, for me, each one that I've got it reviewed after a contract of sale has been signed. So what percentage of people do go and ask for a blank contract and get it reviewed first? And that can typically slow the deal down as well, right? You could...
majority of people, you want to get it looked over by a solicitor. Like for your example, it was a weekend, the solicitors weren't working.
That was the last one anyway.
Yeah.
The other one, I just went ahead with it.
And then you put clauses in there saying, that, and this is a key clause to use if agents do put pressure or you want to move fast, is that it is subject to a solicitor's review over the whole contract, because the solicitor could come back and say, wow, this has got major issues, and then you can pull out and there's no penalty.
So what percentage of people get a contract review prior to the contract of sale being signed?
Well, the way we run our business would be we get the offer and acceptance verbally, and then we pass through their the entity name they're purchasing in and their solicitor details, and then it gets sent to the solicitor to review. And then when it's all ticked off, then it gets signed from the buyer. So that's the process we run. That way, it's covering them, and the solicitor's getting their view over it. So that's majority of the time. But percentage-wise, maybe like 80-20. We do ones where they don't get reviewed by a solicitor, but there's a clause in place to cover your back end.
Exit if you need.
Because you don't want to be signing stuff, and I know we went through this conversation too, like you don't want to be signing stuff that you don't know what you're signing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to know what's signing. Your solicitor needs to know that stuff. That's what you're paying them for. So you can get a contract review. It's usually either free with solicitor or conveyancer, or maybe a couple $100 if you don't go through. But if you do go through with the purchase, then that
it gets taken off.
Yeah.